Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. I hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's planty video, I'm going to be showing you some Hoya updates. I was going to do a plant updates of all plants, but then I realized most of the updates were with my Hoyas, which is really exciting. I think my Hoyas are finally enjoying their life in the cabinet. I put most of them into a cabinet about a year ago. They're starting to enjoy life in there, the high humidity, etc. And I'm seeing some real growth. Could also just be that it's summer. Either way, my Hoyas are making me very proud. And so I'm gonna show you all of the updates. So first little Hoya is my Hoya Dikyai. Now I cannot credit the cabinet with this because I've only had this plant for a month. And this was part of my import from Green Spaces from Indonesia. Hoya Dikyai looks like a heart, but with veins. I am obsessed with this plant. I was obsessed with it ever since I saw a photo of it. And the update is that it has a new leaf coming in. And I kind of was worried that this plant would be like my Hoya Carnosa that never grows at all. However, already it has a new leaf coming out. I did cut, there was a large runner coming out of this plant when I received it. I did cut that because I didn't think it would produce leaves. And now there's a new leaf on the plant. The cutting, the runner that I cut off is in moss. It hasn't produced any roots or leaves yet, but I'm gonna just leave it in moss and hope for the best because that would be really cool to grow a whole other Hoya Dikyai. I am happy if this plant stays small because it is so beautiful, but obviously new leaves on any plant are exciting. It also means that the plant is pretty happy. Now this leaf looks a little bit dry to me. Like it looks a little bit dry and shrivelly as if it might fall off, but I'm just not gonna touch it. I find new leaves on Hoyas are very, very fragile. So I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna just hope for the best, keep this plant hydrated, but not too hydrated. And hopefully the leaf sizes up and survives. Next Hoya is my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. And this plant was not growing for a really long time. I put it on this trellis, let's say 6 months ago, in the hopes that it would grow more and also in the hopes that it would bloom more. No blooms, however, it did put out these new cutie little leaves. They're so pink and beautiful. Those are brand new, and like I said, this plant had not put out new leaves in a really, really long time. So this is promising. I find sometimes with Hoyas, especially the Carnosa Hoyas, once they get growing, they just take off, which is really what I hope for this plant. I'm also hoping, of course, that with its new growth, it will have some peduncles. I don't see any peduncles. I am looking for them often. I would love for this plant to bloom. I don't know what, like I want all of my Hoyas to bloom, but I specifically want this Hoya to bloom. I think it will be so beautiful, especially now that it's on this beautiful trellis. And so this is just giving me so much joy. When I noticed that, I literally was like, ah, because, you know, it's promising. This one is living in the cabinet. I think it does not need to live in the cabinet. I definitely had it outside of the cabinet before I got a cabinet and it was fine. But I am hoping with the increased humidity, it will just grow faster and stronger. Here is my Hoya Astralis Lisa, and she is doing great. She's also a plant that's in the cabinet that probably doesn't need to be in the cabinet, but I love the variegation on this plant and I just want it to have as many new leaves as possible. These new leaves have just popped out and I think they are so beautiful. And I just noticed as I'm holding it here, this vine, I want to be really careful, but this vine has a new little leaf on it as well. I think this one is new too. And they're putting out like these little aerial roots. So I think it is enjoying being on this makeshift trellis. In a past video, I put all of my Hoyas, almost all of my Hoyas on trellises, even though they're like tiny trellises, because I am learning that they really love to climb and are more likely to bloom if they're climbing. We'll see. I also just think they look more compact and you can really see the leaf shape and the variegation better when they're on a trellis versus when they are kind of crawling all over the place. And they also fit in my cabinet a lot nicer when they're on a trellis because they're just more compact. But I'm also, of course, hoping that the trellises will encourage more growth. So far so good. I would assume that those aerial roots are showing that the plant is happy and enjoying being attached to a trellis. Okay, this is another one of my newer Hoyas. This is Hoya Tangamis Red, which prior to having this plant, I had never heard of, but now I'm obsessed with. Now, when I opened this plant was also in the import. It was putting out aerial roots, and the aerial roots were actually attaching to the packing materials, which was pretty cool. There's actually a little bit of paper still attached there. And those roots are still there, but I think it has put out more. So that's the update. If you look in this soil, like close to the soil here, it's putting out a whole bunch of aerial roots there as well. And that's making me wonder if I should maybe add some moss around this little trellis thing that might make it happier. But I'm not sure, like, is that necessary? Is it looking for something to climb onto? My thought right now is that I should wrap this metal trellis with moss, because that way it would have something comfortable to root into. It's putting out all of these roots. It obviously is looking for something, and that would be a pretty easy fix. I would literally just wrap it with moss. So I'm probably gonna do that soon, maybe right after this video. And then of course I can update you guys if these roots actually attach into that moss or if it causes extra growth, etc. But yeah, I mean, these roots, it's not like a huge update or anything, but I thought it was really interesting how excited it is to root. It's possible too that this plant was really rooted into something before I got it and it's just used to doing that. It's really hard to know. It's just a really stunning plant and I want it to do as well as possible. So I'm gonna probably baby it a little bit, and if it wants moss, it's gonna get moss. So last update is on my vert planter. I did share this update on another video, but I feel like it needs to be shown again. The Hoya Carnosa has put out a tiny little leaf right there. And as I've said many times, the Hoya Carnosa, I even said that at the beginning of this video, the Hoya Carnosa grows so slow and it rarely puts out new leaves for me. And when it has put out new leaves, they have gotten maybe not even that big, maybe sometimes that big, but then they shrivel. And this leaf is hanging on longer than usual. It hasn't gotten much bigger, but it is still there. And actually, I don't want to touch it because I don't want to, can just, you see that? Right under the leaf, there is another little growth point, which might be another leaf, maybe. While I've got this here, I'm just looking for any other updates. Definitely the root growth. Can see those roots. I would say for now, the Hoyas seem to be really enjoying this way of growing, and it makes sense. They're kind of attaching to the vert planter like it would attach to like a tree in the wild. But I just thought a new leaf on Hoya Carnosa should definitely be shared. Hoya Carnosa has a new leaf, and that is a miracle. Okay, those are all my Hoya updates. It's a pretty short video, but I just find that because Hoyas grow so slowly, at least for me, any new leaf, any new little growth is just so exciting, and I wanted to share with other plant people who I'm sure will understand. I share with my husband and my kids, and they are positive, they are encouraging, but I don't know that they feel the intense joy that I feel when a Hoya puts out a new leaf. So I have to share. I have to share when there's growth. I hope you all are having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.